What's up guys, PoliticsGaming here, and today we're doing a quick review on World Warfare and economics. WWE is an upcoming geopolitical strategy game which puts the player in control of any nation in the world and allows them free reign to promote policy, expand their influence, and even take over the world if they so desire. The main focus is geopolitics, which is the influence of one nation on another as well as the study of international relations. You can create a geopolitical empire as Tanzania, for example, or expand your own with Russia, the United States, China, the United Kingdom, maybe even some European nations if you wanted to. Before anything, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new to keep up with anything WWE related. I'll be previewing the game soon on my channel with exclusive content from the developer himself, so help the channel out by subscribing for more content. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this review. This video will essentially discuss my first thoughts on WWE. This won't really be a long video, it's essentially going to be a video just kind of talking about my first thoughts, everything like that, how it's comparing to other games, and what to expect whenever I do preview this on my channel. For a while now, I have had my hands on the game itself. I've been attempting horribly to play the game and learn the game and as well as its ropes, but the game is still quite bare bones in the current state that it's in. It's in very early alpha stage, and I'm going to go through some of the features in a second, but essentially I'd probably assume maybe in about a month that we will see more content added. Just this month alone, we have finally seen that, for example, the political simulation update has come out. So there is like real life parties. So the United Kingdom, they have the Conservative and Unionist Party. The Republicans and Democrats are in the United States. CDU, SDU in Germany, etc., etc. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be going through all of the countries, adding their unique political parties, but I'm pretty sure it's going to start off with a lot of the major ones first. However, anything kind of like if I say something, just if you don't see it in the game, all of this is subject to change. All of this is subject to any changes whatsoever. So again, this is a very early discussion about WWE. Gameplay-wise, imagine a mix of government simulator, democracy, and geopolitical simulator. Essentially, the way I'm comparing this is that, for example, changing laws in WWE is essentially exactly like democracy. If you know democracy, you'll know that whenever you change your law, there's like this slider. Except the biggest difference is that in this one, it kind of works like democracy, in which, you know, there's like these values that change, kind of like the way I call them, they're called good boy points, where you have like a ranking of democracy, conservatism, liberalism, and a lot of these ideologies are kind of implemented into the game. So that's kind of like where it kind of extends out from the political simulation of GPS4. But then whenever it comes to the other difference is that you actually have to introduce these things to Parliament. So Parliament is broken up into these different parties, and you have to make sure that you're going to be able to get that passed. And I don't think, and that's one of the biggest things about this game that is different from GPS4, is essentially, I don't think for right now, and I don't know if this is going to be a feature that is planned, there's not really that much micromanagement whenever it comes to trying to get these things passed. So essentially, there's kind of like this political capital system where you can try to say, okay, let's increase support for this bill, but you can't go to like the party speaker, or you can't go to like a specific character like in GPS4. This is kind of why GPS4 will probably beat WWE in a couple of different ways, especially in the political simulation realm. However, again, all of this is maybe subject to change. I don't think we're going to be able to see any characters in this game. Because it's going to be way more of kind of like an extended view instead of, you know, micromanaging a lot of different characters like in GPS4 is going to be a lot different from that. So it's kind of reminds me again of democracy, where like you try to expand the influence, you have all of this political capital, but then also added onto that, you have to deal with Parliament. But you also have to realize that Parliament can be turned off. You don't even have to worry about the political simulation if you don't want to deal with it. So there is a way to turn that off if you don't want to do it. The UI is a little complicated, a little difficult to navigate at first, but it's simplistic enough, at least for right now. where it's probably going to be like, okay, maybe a little overwhelming whenever you first play it, but I do believe that a lot of people will be able to get used to it after a minute. Another added difference in WWE is that you have a set of options called national ideologies that can change your relation to your goals as a nation. So, for example, you have your foreign policies, or you have your military interventionism. So military interventionism, you can go isolationist if you wanted to, or you could say, I'm going to be a regional player, and that will kind of affect the diplomatic relations of the countries around you, because then those countries will be able to see how aggressive or how lenient your foreign policy will be. And this actually goes into things like religious power in your government. It'll go into environmentalism, and there's going to be a couple of different, I think there's maybe about half a dozen different types of options for these national ideologies. Moving on, there are sectors in this game. Now, this is not, whenever I say sector in this video, I am not talking about like in GPS4 where we're talking about bananas or oil or automobiles or anything like that. Sectors are broken up into about a dozen different parts, and this will basically be your media, it will be your military, it will be your environment, it will be your energy, and all of this is broken up into these sectors, the way they're called, and these are then broken up into 4 different fields whenever you expand these kinds of sectors. These are broken up into manpower, facilities, laws, and budget. Manpower pertains to those who are involved in the sector, with employed and unemployed staff, how many are made yearly through your universities, and their wages if you are able to affect and change those wages. Facilities give you the option to observe, build, and dismantle these various facilities, which boost the sector's influence or could even reduce that sector's influence. For example, the welfare tab has orphanages, rehab centers, women's shelters, retirement homes, and homeless shelters, which can assist in improving the quality of life and certain crises that may evolve in your country. For one case, if a large amount of homeless children became an issue. Military gameplay is quite interesting. It flows like Power and Revolution, where you're watching your tank kind of move across the battle space. However, whenever you actually get into a battle, it somewhat reminds me of Hearts of Iron 4, where it's basically whatever weapon you have, whatever weapon system you have has these bonuses. They have these values that can affect how they're going to be able to perform inside of a battle. So certain bonuses can be allocated to vehicles, with air power and missile power able to make a difference in a battle. Intelligence is implemented, which can make you invest in hackers, recon drones, spies, and special agents. Each of these can influence your counterintelligence and cyber networks. If you don't have a military production, you can build facilities which can increase your, quote, production rate, is what it's called in the game. If you don't have a design for any weapon systems, you can approach other nations or allies which produce advanced weapons and license them from those nations for a certain cost. I've actually seen, I think some of the F-22s or something like that, you can license them from the United States for like $6 billion. And it's quite expensive to be able to do that, but if you are kind of like in a weird situation where you can't really invest in your own domestic production, it'll be too expensive for you to do that. It could actually cut costs for you to go to Russia or go to the United States and try to license these weapons from them so you can build them on your own. The economic gameplay in WWE is still bare, but what I can see is interesting. Supply and demand is implemented in the game, which can affect prices and other factors in the economy. You have a variety of taxes that you can raise and lower, like personal income tax, small business taxes, corporate taxes, high-tech taxes, vehicle import taxes, and inheritance taxes. Sector taxes, which again is talking about the media sector, the energy sector, etc. These are also broken up into taxes. So essentially there's about 24 resources that are available in the game. These include drinks, meat, luxury goods, electronic chips, vehicles, and household appliances. And all of these can be taxed in WWE. You have the ability to give and receive loans to other nations. And another interesting piece is that in addition to the ability to change your interest rate for your economy, you can also print more of your currency. So In this case, the pros and cons of this are quite unknown. You know, I honestly don't really know exactly what will happen whenever you start printing money, but at least in the game we don't know. But in real life, I think we already know what's going on with that. Now, in response to Superpower 3, it is very well known that WWE is going to be an extremely looked forward to game. A lot of people, because of the disappointment of Superpower 3, are indeed looking forward to World Warfare and Economics. And I do have a statement from the developer of WWE, Lotus21, and this is what he had to say. I know many of your viewers have a lot of concerns regarding how the game will be after the unfortunate failure of Superpower 3. He wishes all of them the best and success with the game as a fan of this franchise. But World Warfare and Economics definitely won't be the same for a few reasons. They are not tied up with any publisher and are not being pushed to release the game by anyone except himself. We're listening to the feedback of the community, and that since they released alpha, they have fixed more than 55 bugs from the community, and as well as changing some mechanics that some of the players didn't like, for example, the fact that we didn't have land bases. And lastly, this is our first game and we won't be releasing anything less than a masterpiece, and we have all the patience needed for this endeavor. So he is very much looking forward to releasing this game. However, again, he is not being pushed by any publisher, nor is he going to release an unfinished game, and that is at least the way he says it. I do believe that I have said before that the game was looking forward to a April release, and it looks like that a full game release is not going to be happening in April. However, he is going to be at least pushing to make sure that the open beta will be available by April, and that is at least what it is right now. Any updates to this situation I will be posting onto this channel. World Warfare and Economics is set to compete with Power and Revolution and will attempt to take the crown as the best geopolitical simulator game on the market. At the current pace, I do believe that it will be competitive, but there are certain shortcomings which may hinder the detail it is allowed to prevail. But keep in mind, I am discussing a game which is still very deep within its alpha stage. The release of Superpower 3 was a disappointment for all of us, but WWE is hoping to set a precedent on the market for geopolitical games. It will be very interesting if there is a possibility that WWE will be able to surpass all expectations, will be ranked higher in Steam ratings than Superpower 3. However, I don't think that's going to be a very hard feat to break. So it's going to be very interesting to see what release day is like for this game. If you're interested in watching WWE gameplay, keep an eye out on my channel and subscribe if you are new here. I will be exclusively previewing WWE very soon, and I am very excited to do so. Again, this game is very early in its development, and there's a lot of expectations that a lot of people are going to have about this game, and a lot of people are disappointed because of Superpower and are looking forward to this game. All eyes are on WWE at this point. There is a lot of pressure on this game in order to surpass the disappointment that was Superpower 3. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out in April. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And again, I will be previewing WWE exclusively on the channel very soon, so don't miss that whenever I do it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.